It's 1914, and this is Bologna, Italy. Here live 6 brothers. They love cars and racing, so they start making spark plugs and then Grand Prix cars for Diatto. This is Mario. He's the only brother who's not obsessed with engines. He's an artist, so his brothers ask him to create their logo. So Mario goes for a walk. He arrives at the city's central square and sits by the fountain. There stands the bronze statue of Neptune. It inspires him to sketch the icon that will one day be seen around the world. This is the story of Maserati. The spread of Maserati as a global name happened on April 25, 1926 at the start of the Targa Florio open race endurance race. At the race, Alfieri, the third Maserati brother, presented and piloted their first production car, the Maserati Grand Prix 1500, bearing the Trident emblem on its hood, and he won the race. The following year, Ernesto, the youngest of the Maserati brothers, won the Italian Drivers' Championship in the Maserati Tipo 26. After several high-profile victories, all of Europe came to know about the company. From that moment on, the brothers decided to specialize in exclusively making racing cars. The collective genius of the Maserati brothers was focused on creating super powerful motors. But from 1932 to 1939, after Alfieri's death, all cars were created by Ernesto. During that period, he himself designed all the engines and led the cars to victory in races several times. In 1933, Ernesto Maserati was the first in Europe to use a hydraulic brake booster in racing cars. In 1939 and 1940, an American racer, Wilbur Shaw, won the Indianapolis 500 in a Maserati 8 CTF under the name Boyle Specials. This was the start of Maserati's mark in American race history. The Maserati 8 CTF, equipped with a magnificent 8-cylinder motor, was the only Italian car to win in these races in its entire history. But in 1957, due to a Ferrari accident, Maserati officially announced its retirement from racing. They shifted their focus away from racing technology to production road cars. Maserati's current marketing strategy outlines the transition to comfortable sports cars with high-speed performance and stunning appearance. The Maserati MC20 is very elegant, a sophisticated 2-seat supercar with butterfly doors, an ultra-modern interior cockpit, and a design inspired by the features that made Maserati and its Trident logo world famous in the past. This super sports car also features a new 630 horsepower Nettuno twin-turbo V6 engine that propels it from 0 to 60 miles per hour in less than 2.9 seconds and a top speed of over 200 miles an hour. This is the start of a new era, one that'll take Maserati back to where they started. And that's great news. Maserati is now resting its hopes on 13 new models which they'll launch by 2024. The crowning jewel is the new supercar MC20. We can't say for sure until we sit behind the wheel of this car, but the MC20 promises to be the hero of Maserati. The heart of the current MC20 is a high-revving 3-liter twin-turbo V6 engine entirely designed and built by Maserati and named Nettuno, or Neptune in English. Why Neptune? This goes back to the history of the company. The company was founded in 1914 by the Maserati brothers. At the time, they were located in Bologna, which had a fountain of Neptune in the main city square. Mario, who was the artist in the family, found inspiration in the sculpture and he designed the company's logo with the trident. The brothers liked the symbol since the pagan god represents its strength, and also it was the symbol of their hometown. The coolest feature of the dry sump engine is pre-chamber combustion technology. It uses an additional chamber located behind the main combustion chamber and the center spark plug to allow the engine to deliver 630 horsepower, and you can hear it. At a recent virtual show, the new V6 sounded surprisingly husky with a rattling baritone that matches supercars. What about the design and body of the supercar? The MC20 is the first Maserati to feature carbon fiber. The high-tech, ultra-lightweight carbon fiber monocoque has been designed to make the MC20 stronger, faster, safer, and dynamic, thanks to its high torsional and bending stiffness. The monocoque weighs 220 pounds for a total vehicle weight of about 3,300 pounds. It boasts a best-in-class power-to-weight ratio of 2.3 kilograms per horsepower. And what about the design? According to Klaus Busse, head of design, the face of the MC20 with the low-mounted grille and much higher headlights is their new design language. He added that the supercar's exterior draws inspiration from past models, including MC12, which was released in a limited edition between 2004 to 2005. He also shares some stories of how the team shaped the MC20. From the beginning, he insisted that the car shouldn't have large air intakes or fenders the size of a park bench in the back. His team consistently integrated all components that create downforce below the axle through the middle of the wheels. This is a clean and simple approach that'll characterize all future models, so it means they'll all be sporty in a sophisticated and elegant style. In fact, everything in this car, from the pronounced front splitter to the aggressive rear diffuser, is all about cutting through the air, and the full-scale wind tunnel experiments, which were carried out to optimize every detail, increased the downforce coefficient and kept the drag coefficient low. Therefore, all aerodynamic elements such as air vents, side air takes, rear spoiler are combined with the elegant lines of the body. By the way, the underbody of the supercar with its humpback shape has also been carefully designed to ensure maximum aerodynamic efficiency. But that's not all. There's another nice feature. When you need ground clearance, for example, to cross over obstacles, just press a button and the front axle will lift up by 2 inches. The system operates at speeds up to 25 miles an hour, so if you want to go faster, the car will automatically return to normal ground clearance, ready for another aggressive drive with Nettuno power. The new 3-liter Nettuno twin-turbo V6 will be the brand's main combustion engine with varying power outputs for different models. The engine can be modified for electrification in the future, which means there will be mild hybrid versions. They have plans to start production of a fully electric version of the MC20 supercar in 2022. This, they say, will be able to sprint to 60 in 2.7 seconds and up to 124 miles an hour in 8.5 seconds with a top speed of almost 195 miles an hour. The electric supercar purportedly has a range of about 240 miles with full charge. The recently unveiled MC20 Coupe shows the direction that stylists are heading for the rest of the Maserati lineup in the 2020s. The proportions of this range will remain unique. For example, the company isn't planning to make the Levante family SUV like the MC20, even though they both have similar positioning of the mid-engine. But the MC20 style, with its front end and clean, simplified design, will carry across the Levante and other models. Of course, Maserati's goal is not to create a series of models that all look alike. That just wouldn't make sense from a brand or commercial perspective. So expect to see variations of the MC20 theme as the lineup evolves. For example, one representative from the new line of cars is the second-generation Gran Turismo, which is scheduled to debut in 2021. It'll be the first MC20-inspired model. The style elements will also affect the Grey Cali, a new compact crossover that's smaller than the Levante. The first Grey Cali prototype is due to roll off the assembly line early next year, as Maserati has already invested nearly $1 billion to build a new production line. The details on the powertrain of the car have not yet been disclosed, but Maserati said all of its new vehicles will have hybrid and battery electric versions, in addition to the internal combustion engine versions. It appears this is based on increasing buyers' interest in this type of engine. Hybrid cars were first mass-produced in Japan when Toyota launched Prius and Honda with this insight. The Volvo group picked up on the trend. They started producing hybrid trucks and transport equipment. And Folgore, the most popular hybrid cars, are today in the US and Canada, and thus because of the environmental friendliness and efficiency of these vehicles. Some people believe that hybrids are less reliable, but this myth is completely refuted by the ratings held in the US and EU countries, which show that hybrids are taking a lead in reliability. In a hybrid car, all systems ideally work independently without requiring driver involvement. The computer itself chooses the most efficient mode, and depending on the driving situation, decides which engine should work at a certain moment, possibly both at once if, for example, the car has to accelerate intensively and often. For example, if you're driving around the city but there's a lot of traffic jams and downtime, it's more economical to use electricity, and if the car needs to pick up full speed, it's better to have a gasoline feed. Put simply, a hybrid engine startup looks like this. First, the electric motor and batteries work, feeding the energy center, which directs the energy flow to the motor, so the car can start from a place smoothly and silently. When the electric motor reaches maximum speed, the fuel assembly is connected. As a rule, hybrid cars use 25% less fuel than conventional gas cars. That's worth noting when you consider rising fuel prices. Also, a hybrid produces significantly less toxic emissions because when the gas engine isn't running, there's practically no carbon dioxide emission. Studies have shown that a hybrid car emits 90% less harmful substances than a conventional combustion engine. Hybrids also have a longer power reserve than electric cars, since their batteries get recharged from an internal combustion engine. At the same time, hybrids have longer range than traditional combustion engines and pure electric cars. And another plus is that there's no noise at standstill. But there are no pluses without minuses. A main disadvantage is that repairing a hybrid is much more expensive than repairing a traditional car. That's because that technology is much more complicated. Also, batteries can self-decharge and cannot withstand severe temperature fluctuations. Battery life is no more than 8 to 10 years. During this time, the average American driver travels about 150 to 200,000 miles, and after that, it needs to be replaced. The battery cost hits the owner's pocket and lowers the overall fuel economy because it costs at least $6,000. And then there's the question of how to dispose the used batteries and the yet-to-be-resolved environmental impact of recycling batteries. But all this doesn't stop Maserati from keeping a positive outlook on electric vehicles. For example, the electric Grecale and MC20 models will be joined by the battery electric vehicle, or BEV versions, of the all-new Gran Turismo Coupe and Grand Cabrio, which will be released along with their upgraded combustion engine siblings in 2022. All BEV Maserati models will have the word Folgore added to their regular model designations. Folgore is an Italian word for lightning. It's a fitting name for a drivetrain, which includes an 800-volt inverter and 3 electric motors, 2 on the rear axle and 1 on the front. This high-voltage system will enable the Folgore Maseratis to use 300 kilowatts of ultra-fast chargers and allow batteries to recharge to 80% in just 20 minutes or to top up the range of 80 miles in just 5 minutes. That's twice the charging performance at charging stations with a 400-volt inverter. Besides super fast charging, this technology allows you to increase the travel distance, reduce battery size, and the use of lighter, cheaper cables. In addition, the use of an 800-volt inverter allows more kinetic energy to be collected during braking, which further increases the EV's range. The Blitz model completes this line. It's a completely new replacement for the flagship Quattroporte sedan, and it's due in 2023 or 2024. As with all other Maseratis, there will also be an electric version of the Blitz. So as far as we can see, Italian motorsports engineering triumphs again.